welcome back to Conversations with. We're back to the first season, so it's been a while since a couple of weeks since we spoke with Paul Greenland, and pleased to welcome Anjuli Leahy. Leahy. So I was always never get the names right, but she's somebody else with Gin in her Instagram handle. So welcome, Ange. And if you're a part of the James Smith Academy, you'll definitely recognise her from her posts to Facebook, because out of everybody, I think you post the most, Ange. So everybody has seen some of your half-naked pictures, as we've all posted. And your transformation has been incredible. So I was really keen to get you on, and let's just have a chat about your journey and where you've been, where you're going, and what you love about the James Smith Academy. So yeah, how long have you been part of James Smith?
I think I joined. Oh no, I know for sure. I joined on the 22nd of April, 2018, which was the evening after I finished the London Marathon. So I'd seen James on his Facebook Lives for about 4 months, I reckon, most of 2018. Just popped up on my Facebook feed as his lives used to do back in the day. And I knew I had the London Marathon to do. So I messaged him and I was like, look, I want to join, but um, there's not really much point me doing it until after the marathon. And he replied back, and we were just talking about what experience I'd had before with lifting, because I knew that I wanted to get back into that. So for me, um, I like running Disney races, and I'd always wanted to do the London Marathon. And after that, I was just like, no, just fun runs and Disney races, really, because running hurts me. I get hurt from running. It's the one sport that is guaranteed to send me running to a sports massage on the regular. Whereas lifting weights doesn't, and lifting weights transforms my body. It gets me stronger, and I feel better about myself. So I knew I wanted to join. So yeah, evening of, I signed up, and then I think it was about. I'm pretty sure Savannah had just won, or was just doing her Sydney trip, and then the next challenge was coming to an end. But my first challenge was Vegas, which started in the June. Um, so I signed up to that, and I got a program from the trainers there. Where I was working at the time only had a small gym, so I requested. I think Dylan did my first program, going way back when now, and yeah, he made it work, and it was phenomenal. I dropped, God, I went from size 14 to 8'10" in those 12 weeks, just from keeping to a deficit, which I knew how to do. I just needed the incentive to do it, because when you're running as well, you need all the food. You just want all the food. You can't stop. And yeah, so when you're training, I got back into meal prep. I got back into focusing on calories. So in in a previous fitness life, I'd made some amazing changes pre having my son, with a company called Rebel Fit, who taught me a lot about macros, and it got quite detailed. Also, in general, about nutrition, more than I'd learned before. And what the JSA did was take it to a just a level that worked for me. So talking about calories and then protein, if you want to sort of refine it that bit more, it just yeah, it just works.
So
I'd
previous
say it's like
fitness, as she do you drink your wine? Which wine is that, Ange?
that is a sparkling rosé tonight, not gin for a
Not
change.
not gin for a change. So yeah, it's, so it's not just gin. You should need to
Not
change your
just
Insta handle. It's, it should
gin.
be it's,
Yeah.
it should be
It's
alcohol
not.
fit mama.
Yeah.
Alcohol and food fit mama.
Yeah.
um, so previous life did Rebel Fit. What was if that's got quite detailed, and so was that your kind of introduction into kind of weight loss and things then before?
That was my, yeah, pretty much. So before that, I used to do programs that had been written for me by the PTs at the gym, and I used to follow MyFitnessPal, but with the whole, if you've done exercise, you can take off your calories from that wrapped in. I can't use MyFitnessPal now. I think I've just got it in my head that it doesn't work for me. Um, so I found another app tracker. It's fine. And
So which one do you
yeah,
use
so
now?
I think it's just, I think it's called Simple Stupid Macros or Stupid Simple Macros. It's really basic, but it does the job, and it's yeah, I can make it work. So
Yeah, I guess the message from that is then it doesn't matter what you're using to track it, track it.
just track it. Yeah, I put on everything. I can put on. Admittedly, over the last couple of days, it's been heavy on the wine and gin, but it's the weekend, so Um,
How do you make that work for you then normally? Because it's
I so in a pre-COVID life, I would do meal prep, and that would Monday to Friday I'd have pots that I'd take into the office, and I'd pretty much stick to that um, all week, and they would be tailored to allow me a buffer for the weekend, because I don't like I will always track, but I don't like having to watch what I'm eating at the weekend. So I want to eat what I want to eat, whether it's the cake. Yeah, again, pre-COVID, my son and I used to go for cake dates at a weekend, um, and um, yeah, I didn't like to have to track. I just put in 500 calories for cake or 2,000 calories for a night out. And by keeping my Monday to Friday that little bit extra under, that would work. So then, yeah, now we're in working at home lifestyle. I have access to crisps, which is not a good thing. Crisps are my weakness. I have access to the cheese in the fridge. Again, not a good thing, but I can generally resist that pre 9 o'clock. It's 9 o'clock onwards in the evening that I'm like, I just want to, yeah, smash the cheese. And it's so the way I'm now making it work is, some people would call it intermittent fasting. I call it I don't eat until it's gone lunchtime. Um, and that works. That works for me. So it just keeps it balanced. And I desperately try not to buy crisps for me until it's the weekend. Um, because if I've got stuff in for my son, I know that that's for him, so I can generally resist that.
you're
Um,
not going to take out his stash.
no, but Pombers, 69 calories a bag.
Um, you
They are depressing as the crisp goes.
know,
It's not it's not a good crisp.
but if you desperately needed something,
Yeah, I Oh, it'll get there. So this latest challenge. So this is my um third back-to-back challenge this year, and I had not done a back-to-back at all up to lockdown. So I joined the one as we went into lockdown. It was originally going to be a gym-based goal, and then they'd already shut the gym before we went into lockdown. So I spoke to Pippa and the coaches, and I changed that to, I think it was a handstand goal, which I was massively unmotivated by, because there were then all of all of the new sort of daily challenges that came in the group, and I think handstands I'd smashed it out in like 2 weeks. So then I was like, right, I'll double it. Did that in another couple of weeks, and I was like, right, bored now. So just messed around really. I kept doing other things, but there was nothing really motivating me. Then the second, oh God, what are we on now? This is the 12 weeks one. Last one was Beat the Boss. First one was Bintangs, wasn't it?
That's correct.
Over
Yeah.
lockdown. Yeah, so Bintangs was the handstand one. Last one, I did a strength goal. So I did combined lift. Because by then I joined CrossFit. I got more weights for my bar at home, and I'd got a squat rack at home. And they had opened up the gyms again, so I could go up to the one, because I've got a corporate membership and they let us use the public gym as well. So I had a combined um, goal of front squat, back squat, and hip thrust to get up to 250 kilos, which I did by week 9. So I was happy with that. But now in the run up to Christmas, I have got an inch loss goal, because I know that that will force me to keep in my calories. And I haven't done an inch loss one since the very first challenge I did. So yeah.
Is that important? Because there's a little event coming up that I know that you love.
What, Christmas?
Yeah.
Yeah. Basically, I've got until the beginning of December, and then it'll be all the pigs and blankets and cheese and gin, clearly. So yeah, I don't want to roll into 2021.
So you're trying
I'd
to
quite like to
get there
stuff
and then
in there.
balance out.
Yeah, yeah. So, but so far so good. I'm really pleased with how I've gone already in 3 weeks. So yeah, on track to continue and get to a good point sort of by 8 weeks into the challenge, and then kind of balance all the food with the calories. Just yeah, not entirely sure how that'll work, but I'll figure that one out when that comes.
Cross that bridge when you come to it, I guess.
Exactly.
So there's kind of I see a lot, because I follow you on your stories, and I think you've got seem to have this sort of passion for like Disney, for musicals, for you talked about Disney races. Christmas has kind of got that similar theme. But these Disney races, what are they? Because I haven't heard of those. So
Okay, so the first one I ever did was in Florida, which was the Disney World Marathon. So Florida is the only Disney race that is a full marathon, because they've got the 4 parks and the land to do it. So you run through the parks. So you run through each of the parks plus a load of backlot and just the land that belongs. So in Florida, you run through. They've got a racetrack as well, so you run around that, and it's amazing. It is amazing, but it's hard work. So because you run through before they open the parks, it starts at 5 in the morning, and in Florida in January there is still 80% humidity at that time in the morning.
ooh,
So you're running and swimming through the air at the same time. It's
hard.
But you get to do it in Disney fancy dress, and you get character photos throughout the race. So I've done 2 marathons out there. I've also done a half marathon out there. There's the potential I'll get talked into / tempted to doing. They have a dopey series, which is basically over 5 days. You do a 5k, 10k, half marathon, and marathon. Maybe another one as well. I had it in my head there were 5 races, but maybe just the 4. But that's enough.
Yeah.
That's enough.
So what did you dress up as then?
So for the Florida one, I did the first one I was Pocahontas. The second one I was the Cheshire Cat for the half marathon, and the full marathon, I think I was Maleficent. And then in Paris 5 years ago, they started off a half marathon series. So they do a 5k, a 10k on the Saturday, and a half marathon on the Sunday. I've been Moana and Pocahontas again for those, and because I run with one of my friends, We were the Ugly Sisters one year as well. That was quite funny. And um, yeah, it's what I love about the Disney races um, is everyone gets into the spirit of it. So it's all well, it's just fun. You wouldn't do so. Well, no, that's a lie. There are some people who are just there to get the fastest time, but it's like you're running at Disney. Why? That's not my style. To be fair, with a Disney race, is you're there for the experience. You're there to run around and get the photos with the characters. I mean, some of them, the queues are ridiculous, so you kind of just stop and do a little selfie
Yeah.
and then run on. But with my friend and I, we chat our way around the race. We agree in advance who we will actually stop and wait in queue for. And obviously, if it's one of our costumes, then that's pretty much a guaranteed. You're going to get a selfie with the person you dressed up as,
Mm.
for the most part. And then, yeah, you get the iconic, you run through the middle of the castle. It's fantastic. And at the end, you get I should have, I can't think where I've got them put away. I should have got out my Disney medals. The medals are phenomenal. They're literally like, they're huge, and you get like spinning Mickeys on them, and yeah, it's entirely all about the bling.
And you wrap it up with actually going out to Florida for you don't suppose you fly in, run, and fly home.
No, so the two times I've been to Florida to run the race, we got there a few days before, and then yeah, run the race. Even on the sort of afternoons of the race, you sort of walk around the parks or do a bit. The step count's astronomical. Um, and then yeah, you eat around Disney Springs, and it's just nice. And then you've got the rest of the holiday to play at Disney. So, but even with Paris, where we've done those ones, you get there a few days before because you've got to do all the race pickup, and then yeah, after the race, I mean, it's only a half marathon, so you've still got the energy to maybe not do rides, but certainly go out and see some of the shows or the fireworks and things afterwards. So,
You may still have energy, Ange. After a half marathon, still got energy.
well, you have a little bit of a rest straight away, and yeah, eat all the food,
Yeah,
and you're in front. And
and you're
the last couple of
buzzing
years,
on adrenaline, aren't you?
yeah, definitely massive adrenaline post races, always have. Um, and hunger, just yeah. What's really nice, the last few years in Paris, so obviously this year COVID
Mm.
cancelled it. Um, the 2 years previously, they've had a French food market. Um, so yeah,
Cheese.
finished all the cheese, all the food, all the wine, all the pastries. It's amazing. So yeah, you go back to the hotel, sort yourself out, get changed, put on your medal for a bit of bling and swagger, and yeah, just go and eat all the food, and then go and have dinner. So,
So,
so
so you're serious.
I'm
Uh,
a serious runner.
you're serious runner, yeah. Instead of doing all your Disney races, what is then? So you've done one. We won't. Let's not look at your time from Florida because I bet it's messed up because you've done all the queues and stuff. What was your London Marathon time?
So my London Marathon time, I actually had an hour and a half stop with the St John's ambulance at mile 17 because it was the hottest year ever, that one, and my feet were yeah, we won't talk about feet. Um, they weren't pleasant, but I think my time was around 6 hours. So
So
I finished it. I was happy
I'm
to finish
surprised St
it.
John's ambulance let you carry on after an hour and a half rest.
Um, I I just had my feet on ice, literally on ice. Um,
The rest of
I
you was
had
okay, and it was just your feet.
yes, just my feet. I mean, getting started again after that was painful.
Then it was.
I don't think maybe not a full hour and a half, but it was yeah, long
Well,
enough,
and
long
then
enough.
everything else starts seizing up. And,
Yeah, there's still time enough to, yeah, still energy enough in the bank to sprint for the last bit, but it's more the relief of knowing that it was done. So,
because you've put in, it
but I
takes,
was running.
yeah, I was going to say your
Sorry.
training is hard for a marathon.
Yeah, that's why I would have to be coerced, I think, into doing another full marathon. It was just so my training for the Disney one had started in the April 2017, so a full 12 months of running, yeah, training and planning for a marathon, really. So I had, because Disney was in the January and then London in the April. So
Blimey.
yeah,
And it's from what I've not done it, so but I've done some running,
you've
and to
done some
train,
amazing challenges.
I challenges just I get myself in stupid things sometimes. Oh yeah, that sounds like a good idea. Oh shit, I've told people about it, but um, but yeah, it's all consuming, isn't it?
Mm.
Like you said, you couldn't say yes or sign up to the James Smith Academy because
No,
you were totally.
there would have been no point. I wouldn't have got anything out of it for those first few months, um, at all, because all I had to be doing was running or stretching. That was it.
Hmm.
Um, but no, I joined in the April, got my program, joined a challenge, joined a couple of WhatsApp groups, started meeting people, and yeah, it's just gone from there really. Once you start, I think once you start joining in, so posting anything on the groups, commenting on people, um, it's it, it. Everyone has said this, and it feels a bit cliche, but it is like a family environment. Everyone's there cheering on everyone, and yeah, I mean, when I joined, the group was about 4,000, and I think we're at 23,000 now, which is intense.
Yeah,
Like, I don't think, I mean, it's a it's strange now, obviously, as well, because people can't meet each other.
which is where the community comes from.
Yeah,
Yeah, it comes from. I find anyway. You joined a much. You were near. No, you would probably joined at the same sort of time as me.
hmm
Um, but that even then it was still quite big, and you had to kind of
yeah,
find your groups and you
yeah,
find the people that you would because there were still people that were had already formed their groups,
yes,
and
definitely.
it's not right that their groups become yours, and sometimes they do, and they do shape, but without the meetups because I think that those end of challenge meetups and have you done any other ones? Have you done kind of walking meetups or did you
I've
do
not done any of the walking meetups. So the first one I did, trying to think. The first proper meetup I did was in the December 18 when I went up to London for some drinks. But by then I'd already formed sort of there'd been offshoot WhatsApp groups formed, and I knew I was going to meet some of those people before the meetup, um, which was lovely. I count some of those people as my closest friends now, and yeah, so we met up, got a little bit ginned up, um, unsurprising, and then yeah, a couple of informal meets over the Christmas period, for Christmas cake and just chat and yeah, just forming those friendships. Then I went to Manchester in the March, and I'm not sure if that was an end of challenge one or just we haven't done a meetup in Manchester. I can't remember now. I went to Belfast, spur of the moment, because I knew a few people were flying over from the States, and then Sam said she was flying over from Germany, and I was like, well, I want to meet you, so I will go over to Belfast. So that was arranged very, very last minute. So I actually flew. I went to the Reading Beer Festival in the daytime, then got a bus up to Heathrow, flew over. So I was less than 24 hours in Belfast. Um, but it was worth it. You it's weird. It's like you know these people, but you don't know them. It's you know this. So
Well, you're not telling me. You're telling the world. No.
um, yeah, Belfast was a blur, a yeah, just an alcoholic fuzz. Um, Again, that's a bit of a theme with the meats, but then what was after that one? I think it was Cheltenham, the biggie in Cheltenham
The one that
in
everybody
the
speaks of.
night, which yeah, I know you didn't get up to Cheltenham, but
I
you were
sat, I
definitely
sat 40 minutes away with FOMO. Stupid. And yeah, I think, like you said, that's not happening at the moment. So, for any members that are new and maybe listening, when that comes around again, I
yeah.
think that's where you'll experience what the James Smith Academy is really about.
Mm,
About those friendships, about that support network, about being with like-minded people that
yeah.
we've all got our close friends anyway, but
Mm-hmm.
often those close friends don't do this part of our life, and,
No.
or they don't get it, they don't want to do it. So you go and form that network elsewhere. And have you experienced that with any of the other stuff you've done then, or is it fairly unique to James Smith? Do you think?
Um, so I formed good friendships with Rebel Fit. They kind of went some of them went by the wayside a bit because I stopped when I had my son, and everyone else was sort of in a different time. They were all well past child rearing, and so we stayed in touch for a bit, and then things just fizzled a little. But then that happens. Some friends I've kept, and yeah, not like you pick up. I pick up friends wherever I go. So sort of previous workplaces, and um, yeah, it's a hard one to say that really. So I'd say probably I found more that my family don't understand what I'm doing fitness wise than friends. So maybe that's like friends are your family of choice
Yeah. And
to a degree.
how do you? Because I think that's quite common. I think.
Mm.
How do you manage that? What's your why for doing it? Kind of how do you answer those questions when people say, "What are you doing?" Or
So um, for me, my why has it's about being happy in my skin, happy in myself, and fitness gives me that. It sounds vain, and it is vain, but I like knowing that I'm happier when I look a certain way, and that is the more toned. Not necessarily like skinny because I like food too much to ever get to that point. But I like having some visible muscles. It's never going to be, women are never going to get to, some of the extremes that some of the guys can get just because, or not without some artificial enhancements, which isn't my scene. Um, but no, I want to be strong, and I there were some videos over lockdown of my son um doing kettlebells with me, and I love that he wants to do it too. There were also videos of him walking around me when I'm back squatting. That's less something I'm less keen for him to do. Um, but I can't remember if I said on this or if it was just before we were chatting. But I signed up to CrossFit during lockdown because now I'm working at home. I actually can get up to the box. And I've taken my son up a couple of times so he can, mainly so I can get to the class at the same time, but it's good for him to see. Because they do CrossFit Kids. At the moment, their coach has gone, has emigrated, and with number restrictions, they haven't got another coach in yet. Um, but it's something he'll absolutely love doing. Absolutely love doing. I need to find him some sort of gymnastics type
Mm.
kids session anyway. But yeah, so
I think it's brilliant that you want to, just by showing him that you can do it, and you want to be strong. Um, they're brilliant reasons to go and do it. What was so? I've a quite common theme within the James Smith Academy is people transitioning to CrossFit,
mm.
and yours is a fairly recent transition. What was it that you looked at and you thought, I'd really like to go and do that?
So I've been aware of the box opening a few years back, and I knew it never fit in. So I was working in London, and there was no chance I could get to any of the classes at all. Because once I got home, it was straight into doing bedtime for my son. Um, so and short of getting a babysitter in, I wouldn't have been able to get to any but a few of the evening classes. So I never even really contemplated it. And then everything closed up over lockdown, and I'd followed them on Facebook anyway. And I think at the point that everything started to reopen, they put an advert out saying, we've got spaces for new members because, again, with COVID restrictions, they had to restrict the number of people that could join. I don't know if that's the thing with all CrossFits anyway, might be.
Hmm.
But I went and met them, and yeah, I I said earlier I'm in a little bit of pain right now because I've had 3 hours of gymnastics workshop today. But it's good. It's all about learning new skills and learning what your body can do. I really loved the technique sessions that I'm getting there, but the WODs are fun for the most part. I mean, I'm battered at the end of every single one. I have not, and it's full body something. You've learned something new every single time, and the people there, it's like a little mini JSA, really. You know, I, maximum 16 people. Uh,
There's community.
yeah, exactly that. So everyone's there cheering. Whoever's the last one, or whoever, at any point, if you finished, you're then cheering for the people who are still working and finishing, and no one's competing with anyone but themselves.
Mm.
And that for me works. And that's what's nice about the JSA is like everyone has their own targets. No, for the most part, people don't compare themselves to other people
Yeah.
because you can't. There's no point comparing your progress to someone else's because everyone's got different body types, abilities, desires to want and do things. So you can't compare yourself to other people. And I think from what I've heard from some of the other sort of fitness companies out there, you get a lot of that attitude. And I think I've not done any of. I mean, I did some weird diets way back, but I've never done the sort of diet club things. But again, I get the impression that they're all, oh, Karen's lost so many pounds this week. How dare she lose that when I've only lost this many? It's sort of you against others.
Mhm.
I don't know. I'm generalizing because I've not done it. So I
But
don't really
that's your
know.
perception from the outside, which I think
Yeah,
is, that's important to talk about. I know that lots of people have done those things, and
yeah,
helped them on their journeys. Um, and everybody's got a different journey as well.
yeah,
The one common thing I've definitely heard from everybody is everybody's journey is long.
yeah.
And you're talking about Rebel Fit, which was, how long ago? You're talking about that.
So I did Rebel Fit for 2 years. Um, so I in 2013, which was after it ties in with marathons actually, all these fitness transformations for me. So I did the Disney Marathon in 2013, January of, and in the March, April again of that year is when I joined Rebel Fit because I'd got to a point where my big clothes were getting tight and I wasn't happy. And again, I randomly saw an ad. I think actually that was one of my very surreally, one of my American running friends shared an advert for this very um, for a British exercise club. But he used to do some great training. Well, he still does some great training programs, and he'd run them as missions. So it was I think at that time it was a 90-day mission. Now he does sort of 1 or 2 month missions. Um, and again, it it resonated and it felt like it would be something that would work for me, and it did. I made some great changes in that time. I learned how to do kettlebells. I learned how to do some of the hip moves. As I said before, it gave me that introduction into calories and nutrition. Taught me how to work out macros, deal with um, how to understand the hormone changes when you go from a diet of processed foods, which everyone's food generally as choice is processed, to one that is a lot simpler. I know Jack's been doing the bro diet at the moment, and it's similar to that. But after a few days, your body basically has a hissy fit, and you've got to fight through that. And once you get through that, you really don't care. Like you could eat whatever. It has no interest. No, for me, that's not how I want to live my life, but I can get how it would work
Mhm.
for bodybuilders and people who want to do competitions, which potentially is something I can see myself doing in the next couple of years, just because, again, it would be nice to know that I've achieved that. I can't see that that would ever be a cycle I would want to get into,
Mhm.
but maybe the once, twice, that would,
To walk
you
out
know,
on stage and go through that part of it, and
yeah.
that's
But
really
it's knowing how your body reacts to the different changes in nutrition.
Mhm.
And I don't know. I had all these great goals for this year, and I think I've done two. So it's all about chopping and changing and reacting to everything that's on at the moment.
There's so much being thrown at us from left, right, and centre, and it's impacting so many areas of our lives that you're right. But I really admire about you is that there's no kind of final destination, and definitely that's coming across. But there's always a journey, and there's always a progression within that.
Yeah.
And you're trying things and you're finding things that you love. And I know that you're still picking up kettlebells.
Mm.
Um, and you post to like I said at the start, you post to Facebook, but also you quite enjoy the the one thing I've learned from James Smith, and I
Mm.
think a lot of people is you compare us to maybe our friendship groups and things, but our use of Instagram is maybe quite advanced in a lot of ways. We story quite a lot, and I know that I watched one of your stories where you were like, I'm just going to be eating. I'm going to be eating this black pudding, and what I'm going to be doing. So, I was one of those people who was like, cool, that's what I'm doing. I was like, I didn't skip through any of them. I sat and watched, and then I was like, you're making me hungry. Why the fuck am I watching this? And
it was a very good black pudding. It was black pudding with Indija in it. It was amazing.
um,
Um,
so
so yeah,
make me
no,
hungry.
I probably use Insta more than Facebook. Um, I think if I post a, I think where I post onto Facebook more is if it's the Transformation Tuesday, Flex Friday, Throwback Thursdays. If I bother doing one of those for Insta, I'll copy the same one for Facebook. It will be that way round. Um, I can't be asked with that much social media. TikTok, no, I'm just not even going there. I love watching some of the videos, but I am not downloading it. And yeah, just no. I
Not for you. So,
no. I'm yeah, just I don't really feel I have the time, to be
yeah,
fair.
I think that these people that are learning dances and things, that's a big investment of time.
It's amazing and I love watching them. Some of them, some are just like, all right, that's yeah. But
So,
no, it's no. There's things I want to do, and I'd rather do them than hit up TikToks. And there was something else that's fairly new, and I can't remember what it is now.
so much. And, social media could, definitely absorb your life.
Yeah, I'm still in the Friends Reunited in my heart of hearts.
Not showing your age there, Ange.
Not showing my age. Yeah, my CompuServe email address. It's that long,
Yes.
and the modem that just still beeps around. Yeah,
Yeah, we've seen a massive change in technology. So,
yeah,
and I know
yeah.
that one of the things that you quite enjoy doing on your stories is when you're filming yourself in the gym, um, you'll
Head
be
squat.
head squatting. The,
Yeah,
the,
that is one thing that I really did miss from lockdown. So I carried on squatting at home. It's like the fence post. It's not a challenge.
it's not a moving target.
Ah, that was satisfying and surprising the other day.
So you had a moving target. I saw that. So
Yeah.
the
So I don't
simple
know.
things that bring us joy, eh?
You got to find something. So I mean, squatting at home. As I said, I've got my squat rack. I've got my bar. I've got enough weight to keep me going for a while. I mean, for hip thrusts, I probably could do with some more weight, but to be honest, I've got enough bands and things. I can continue to make the progression. I can continue to make it hard enough. Um, but it's missing that full length mirror so you can watch your form, and yeah, you don't get the head squats when you're at home. So um, yeah, for now, for the foreseeable, while everything still stays open, um, I'll keep going to the gym sort of a couple of times a week, and then CrossFit a few more times a week, and yeah, see how it goes. So 3 weeks into this new challenge, and um, yeah, the inches are going where I want them to go, and I can see the definition coming back in my back. So they're kind of my two um, not scale driven measures. I don't have any scales at home anyway. I threw them out during Rebel Fit days.
Just threw them away.
Mm,
Mm.
yeah, there's no point. Like for me, and I appreciate some people like to weigh themselves every day or every week, but I've never been happy with the number on a set of scales. So why keep something with you if it's not going to make you happy?
That's very true. And there's other ways to measure it. How do you measure it then? Is it measurements? Is it photographs? Is it what?
Both. So tape measure. I have three points: chest weight and hips, and then photos. So you can see a difference in photos, and obviously that fluctuates, particularly for women, sort of for different weeks in the month. That will change. Also for me, depending on the gin binge on a Friday night, I take my photos on a Saturday morning. So sometimes that's it. There's some changes from that, but if you take your photo on the same day on the same time every week, that's when you get there. Yeah, you can see the progress.
Definitely, and and what a progress you've
Mm,
seen. When I see some of those face to face pictures and
yeah.
and your comparisons, your transformation Tuesdays and things. There's been a
Mm.
massive difference. What did you say that was in terms of size? Then do you know what it is in
So
measurements?
when I joined James Smith, I was a size 14, but the biggest I've been was a 16. Which some of the Transformation Tuesday, Throwback Thursdays and stuff, they have them, but there's not that many photos of me from that size because I didn't like photos being taken, and certainly not many that are sort of below this.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I was always the one that would take the photos rather than be in the photos. So when I find ones, I mean, again, showing my age, it's pre-digital phones, so or pre-smartphones, really showing my age there. Um, but yeah,
So that
so now I'm kind of on a. So the smallest I got was about a year ago when I got down to a 6. Now I'm sort of in the 8-10 bracket, but I'm quite happy because I'm a lot stronger than I was this time last year. Um, and yeah, it'll it'll change back. I don't necessarily want to get back to a 6. That was possibly a little too skinny for me. Um, but yeah, just get ready for Christmas, basically.
yeah, I mean that other bit of that transformation then that kind of is maybe the hidden side of it, or maybe some people talk about non-scale victories, but has there been an improvement in like confidence then?
Yes,
You're talking about being able
100%.
to be in pictures and things. Yeah, that
100%. Yeah. Um, yeah, Christ. I mean, part of it is actually taking the progress photos in the first place. Um, I mean, I'm still not great at like smiling at the camera, but only because I just it feels so forced. It really feels forced when you're taking that the progress pictures. Um, but then once you start to see the changes, I don't know. It's how I feel in myself that I can see coming through in the photos. So yeah, it's yeah. I don't really take many selfies nowadays because it's just me in my house. It's not that exciting. There's only so many photos you can take of yourself. Hey, look, I'm on another work call.
yes.
But um, yeah, certainly when it was the step challenges over summer, I was out and about and in the woods, and I'm well aware that I'm quite lucky. I've got woods sort of on my doorstep, and there's some lovely walks around here. So I'd go out sometimes with my son, sometimes just out and about. Discovered some of those star apps and things over spring and summer, and yeah, I mean now it's sort of batten down the hatches time for staying in. It's a bit cold and crap outside, but
Did
yeah.
you do you find then now that you are focused on like steps and things? Do you put that into your like daily goals? Do you still get focused on those, or because I find that working from home,
Yeah,
it some days I can look at my watch and I'm like, oh, you haven't moved today.
it's hard. So now we're this side of summer, work has got exponentially busier. So I'm finding if I don't force myself out in the day to walk up to the shop, walk up to the post office, just have a little trot around the block, I don't get the steps in. And I know for me, I need to get. There was one point over lockdown I was hitting sort of 20,000 a day, and yeah, I do not have time for that now. Not if I want to do CrossFit. So it's balancing that walk for an hour, do CrossFit for an hour, or go to the gym for an hour. So I think during those times when I could do that, they weren't open, so I could sort of prat around with weights at home for half an hour, and then get out and walk and still make the differences. But really, walking, all you need to do is track your calories, keep it in your calories, give or take, and get your steps up. It is that simple. If you want to make some body changes, it really is that simple. And people who say they're not making the changes when they're not keeping their calories, it's very hard to lie about the steps you're doing. I know some people do, but then again, you're lying to yourself. So what is the point?
Yeah.
But calories, your body knows. If you haven't tracked it, your body still knows.
Mm-hmm.
So just put it down.
You still know, ultimately.
Yeah.
It's very easy to ignore it, isn't it, actually?
You say that there is a thing of calorie amnesia. It's quite interesting if you read about it, where people, if you ask them at the end of the day what they've eaten, they will forget anything they subconsciously think of as bad. There's some interesting articles.
I haven't heard of that. That's the type of thing I will go and read, and maybe write about. But yeah, just I didn't have it. Don't know what you're talking about. It's, yeah,
So it's not even not even underestimating how many calories were in that half a pack of digestives that you sort of inhaled. It's completely ignoring them, or I mean, it comes down to, it can come down to sort of the little bits like not tracking the oil that you fried your bacon in, or
mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't tend to log every single thing, but I'll over egg other bits. So, but I know that I've put everything in.
Is that a lot more? Over time, you've been able to do that because you actually just understand it now.
Yeah. When I started, I would log absolutely everything. 15 grams of butter on my toast and everything. So, but now I sort of know where it is, and yeah, it all gets tracked, just not necessarily in the correct category, because I know where the calories are. But yeah.
Well, that's good that you've got to that point. I think as James talks about it, you've learned to drive. Now you're just out there driving.
Yeah.
So
I know for me that I will put on the weight or the inches when I don't track, because during the 12 weeks when I was doing my strength goal, I didn't track. Or I tracked for a couple of weeks and then got bored, because I was like, well, there's no point, because I'm not really doing a calorie goal, and I had to keep getting reminded that I was doing a strength goal. So the extra calories I needed to be able to get up to the weights I wanted to get to. So I didn't really need to worry too much about, because I've always, if I've ever tracked, I've always been in a deficit. I've never really done the maintenance thing on purpose. When I started this challenge, I for the week before it started, I ate as I'd been eating, and I tracked, and I was like, oh, okay, that's why everything's got a little tighter, because I was easily 1,000 calories over every single day what I would have been for a deficit.
it's amazing how
Just from
creep in.
crisp, mostly crisp.
They are so bad, those crisps. and you scan it and you're like,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. It was crisps and gin that basic. Oh, and wine. That pretty much. Yeah, but that's fine. It's like you do a week of tracking before the challenge starts, and then yeah, have a couple of weeks where you're whining like a bitch because everything's come down a bit, and then just back in it again.
I think that's really good advice to track as normal before you start tracking on a deficit,
Yeah.
because, like you said, it gives you that moment,
Mhm.
and and can then set you back up for success.
Yeah. So, but
So
yeah, as I said, I don't know what I weigh. I feel that I feel heavier, um, but it's a number at the end of the day.
yeah, that's it. It's just a number. It's just a point to measure from.
Yeah.
Um, so maybe just, you know, to sort of wrap up.
Mhm.
You said you joined after listening to James's lives.
Yes.
Um, and I know the story, but I think it's quite interesting. Yeah, how did you listen to James's lives?
So it used to, because he was in Australia at the time. His lives were on at sort of 7:45 in the morning, which was when I was driving to work. So I dropped my son off at nursery and then just put it on my phone, have it running through the speakers, and just listen to it. So by osmosis, um, I'd be listening every single morning on my drive into work to this bloke from Ascot living in Australia, effing and jeffing about the fitness industry and just answering just answering people's questions. And um, yeah, lunch breaks I'd watch some of the videos that he'd put out. Um, or while I was running on the treadmill at lunchtime or out and about, I just have it on. Um, yeah, it just drew me in because he talked sense, and he still does talk sense.
Mhm.
You know, it's he does his research. You can tell, you know that he does, and what he says works. All you have to do is listen to it, and you'll get the changes that you want to get.
So yeah, listen to it and apply it.
Yeah, yeah.
It'd be great if we could just listen to stuff and it would work, wouldn't it?
Mhm.
Oh, cool! I'm going into a calorie deficit. I'm just going to go and put my headphones on.
Just yeah.
um, do you think that sometimes um, there's a perception of it's going to be easy, and it's definitely not? Because if you think about all the work that, yeah, I'm just thinking about all the stuff you've spoken about
Mm,
and all the stuff. I mean, you're doing CrossFit, you've done you've stuck to doing your workouts, you've changed
yeah,
your plans, changed your challenges. That none of that's easy to fit in, and you've got your why, and you actually enjoy it and do it. Um, but I think sometimes, do you see people searching for the, well, when, people
the
do
easy
search
way.
for the easy way?
Yes, absolutely. You get people who join and they're asking questions, and when they get their first question, when their first question on your post is, oh, what's the difference between the before and the after? You know that they're wanting it to be as short a time as possible,
Hmm.
because they're hoping that if they can do a magic formula of keeping to steps and keeping to deficit for 2 weeks, and you see people who post saying, oh, it's been 2 weeks, it's been 3 weeks, I'm not seeing a change. Why aren't I seeing a change? Do I need to cut my calories more? And that, I think, comes a lot from the other weight loss weight loss clubs around. um that because there's some interesting research. So before people join, I won't say any of the names because they're all pretty much of a muchness, but before they go to their first weigh-in, they will eat all the food because they're like, oh, I have to stop eating stuff from this point on. and it works for some people, and it does. It in theory it works because it's a calorie deficit, because you go from eating the very processed foods, the cakes and the burgers and the crisps, to eating pasta non-stop. You can't eat as much pasta calorie wise as you could eat cake, so instantly you're in a deficit. It's just once you get to a certain point, you don't know about nutrition, you don't know about calories, and that's where it goes wrong. So people coming into JSA, coming into other more fitness based ones where they educate you, um, they don't appreciate that you're not going to get that quick change. Um, and I'm absolutely not bad mouthing other clubs because they've all got a place. I think the reason they're in existence still is because people will always rebound and they will always go back to what they think is best for them,
Mhm.
without knowing how to stop that cycle. Whereas James has always said he wants people to stop paying him. You know, it gets to a point, well, I don't think he said that, but he wants people to stop needing him
Mhm.
because they learn what they need and then they can go off and run.
Or not run.
Um, not run. In my case, certainly not running. There's some amazing runners out there. It is not for me. Um, and I think that's true. You know, some of the education I've got from James has been phenomenal. And the academy has got all the modules. If you actually pay attention to the modules, you can learn so much, not just on the training, but yeah, the nutrition side as well. And yeah, it just works for me.
So, and that's the only person that matters for
Yeah.
for it to matter for you. Um, thank you ever so much, Andrew. There's
You're
so
welcome.
many brilliant bits in there. Um, you know, we've only met once, which
I
that's
know it does. It which is bonkers. It feels like I've met you many more times, but
the 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 virtual reality world, eh?
I know.
But
And Bristol's got to be knocking on for nearly a year ago now.
it is probably a couple of weeks away from a year.
That's ridiculous.
So yeah, there's the
Yeah,
time is definitely flying.
yeah.
But you've inspired me at times. You've supported me at times, and I know that extends to so many other people. So you you are much loved by many, and I hope that others can find that inspiration from you. How can people follow you? And you know,
Probably easiest on Insta. So it's Jin_fit mama on Insta. Or else I'm on the JSA group. So
and you're a inspiration to many, and I think you'll be an inspiration to many women, especially, which is I think is important. But there's also many men that follow you um, for the educational advice that you provide.
clearly just the educational advice and food reviews. I
Yeah,
think
that's right.
maybe that. Maybe it's that.
But I've thoroughly enjoyed it, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Alistair.
The for the other episodes, we're now up
Mhm.
to 12 episodes. And Angela, I know that you've listened to many of them. Is there anybody that
Mhm.
you'd say, you thank you for listening to mine, but go and listen to these ones?
So I would work my way around the one-to-ones and then hit up season 1 of the Beat the Boss, or well, the Beat the Boss ones. So your podcast was great, Paul's was great, Sam's was great, Simon's was good. I'll say great.
Okay.
Everyone's was great. I'm still working my way through quite a lot of the others. So again, while we were doing the step challenge, podcasts were brilliant for that. So if you're struggling to get your steps up, just get onto Spotify and tune up a podcast.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be this one, but I'd love it if everybody was listening. And I will now leave the outro to James, who'll tell you why you should listen and why you should share. Please share. But yeah, thank you, Ange, and I will speak to everybody. You'll have another couple of episodes coming soon.
It's Alistair here. Make sure you fucking like this, share it. Not a charity, down £9 a month because of you bastards. So get this out there, get this on the stories. And if you enjoyed it, if you haven't hit like already. If you haven't hit share, hit share.